Whoa! Hey!
Team,
What's going on, everybody?
hold on, Posse, what's happening?
Let's do it. Welcome to Carvers and Creators, a weekly demonstration and discussion with pumpkin carvers, sculptors, and multi-talented artists from around the world. First, we ask that you please give us a like and a follow on the platform you're watching us on. Turn on that notification bell and let us know in the comments where you're watching from and if you have any questions for the carvers and our special guest. Let's meet the carvers.
Oh.
First, he's an artist and sculptor from Boston, Massachusetts. He's a judge on season 3 of Outrageous Pumpkins on the Food Network. It's Paul Dever. Welcome.
Hi.
Hey, happy Thursday, everybody.
Happy Thursday to you.
Happy Thursday. Ta-ta.
Next, he's a multimedia sculpture artist from Tucson, Arizona, and a finalist on Halloween Wars 2019 on the Food Network. Matt Harper. Yeah.
Aloha. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, boy. Hello, ladies.
Our guest tonight is a world champion ice sculptor and a Food Network champion pumpkin artist from Columbus, Ohio. Please welcome David Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. Man, you got to be my new hype man, bro. This is insane.
Let's do it.
Right.
Let's get the word out.
Right.
Right.
Love it.
Nice for being here, man.
Thank you guys for having me. It's a pleasure.
So glad.
Awesome. Awesome. My name is Michael Mondragon. I'll be running the show, moderating comments, and chiming in from time to time.
Wow. Look at you.
Stop. You stop.
Man, that's nice.
Let's check out our sculpts from last week. Last week's carving subject was Insane Wolf.
Yes.
Paul
Yes.
killed it.
Damn you, Paul. Damn you. I
Oh,
love this.
man.
Looks like a damn cat.
That is a wolf.
You can't get away from. Listen, you try to plug a wolf on a beach ball.
Okay, so part of the problem I had, Paul, same problem I had, but this said wolf in the beginning. You did the right thing, making that nose look like it's going back. And anyway, that was just dynamite. And the best part is you did a cool ass reel that shows like all the little nuances and stuff, and then put the wolf ears on it. Yeah, this is awesome.
No, absolutely.
Thank you.
Just
Thank
never
you.
tell
I
a
think
werewolf that it looks like a cat. You're in the same trouble, no matter what happens. I mean,
Yeah, you're screwed. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the guy ain't happy.
never.
Tried to go
He's
with the weird
insane.
eyes
He
and
is-
stuff. I almost wish I evened out the pupils a little bit. You know, if you do does anybody else do this where you like cover half to look at the asymmetry? You know what I mean? What does one half
Yeah.
look like against the other? Because I
But
wanted
he's
to have
insane.
that, insane look.
Yeah, that's how I thought. Yeah, I see that one eyeball's twitching. He's like, he's going nuts.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you very much. I
Yeah,
appreciate
A
it.
little fatty.
I also think like the roundness of it also makes it maybe a cat, whereas like the wolves have like a thinner face maybe.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing too.
Yeah.
To have if you're gonna go with a muzzle, I mean, I could have gone a million different ways, right?
Yeah.
Because you can do the classic wolf man,
Right.
or you could go like Rick Baker style with the the muzzle, and I was stuck with a beach ball.
Yes.
That's the beauty of what we do, right? We're
Yes.
stuck with the shape. So the wheel gives us the subject, and then we look at what's in front of us that we have to carve, and we go,
How are we going to
well,
do this?
that's not good.
Yeah.
That doesn't work. So that's the beauty of the wheel and the whole just the way we get it going is you got to do it. You
Yeah.
can't say no. So
Yeah. I think it's phenomenal. So great
I
job.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
And then here's Matt.
Nice.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So good.
Absolutely.
I look back at it. I'm like, all right. But
Dude, the drool. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
that part I was proud of. I was happy with the drool.
Crazy.
That was
Yeah.
kind of an afterthought because I wanted to make like wolf teeth, but I had all this void. I didn't just want to have an wide open mouth, so I left a bunch of meat there. So if you look at it really close, it's like as thin as like a piece of spaghetti in the middle. And I was really careful not to break them because they were really delicate by the end. But that was a fun part. And then I tried to make them more like there's like 3 things I want to change on it, but I wanted to give him like mid transformation kind of vibe where he was skin but hair and
That's wonderful.
But I mean, so there's a couple things that you do that I could pick you out of a crowd at this point. You bastard, it's amazing. One is the way you do this thing with your anatomy that doesn't make sense on like a real face, but a pumpkin works where you tuck like the nose under like a fold of skin, which is crazy cool. And the stuff you always do like drool and saliva and you make it look cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I would literally have to spit on my pumpkin to make it look like that. I can't do that. So hats off to you. That's
all right. I feel better about myself.
I do that out of 1 out of every 3 pumpkins, but it's not for the dramatic effect.
Spit on it. Yeah, that's another way.
I get it.
And Matt, you were also inspired by Ryan Brown. When remember we were talking about how the face, like that, he had that puff of like chin underneath there.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like bulges in places you wouldn't expect. So that's what makes it super cool as well.
Yeah. Real fleshy. I do like doing that, but I think I do need to take an anatomy class, unlike him, because there's parts that just don't read sometimes. And anyway, I think once you find that, it speaks more to the eye. You're like, oh God, that's whatever. I'm not there yet. But
yeah, it looks great to me.
First of all, there is no anatomy on a pumpkin.
Especially a werewolf, an insane werewolf,
right? I don't know many werewolf pumpkins in real life, so we can make up what we want. I think you killed it.
Yes, absolutely.
Fantastic.
So I work in pixels and vectors, and here is my offering for tonight. My insane wolf. There's a lot going on here.
Okay. I think I got it.
You kind of have to look at it a little bit. There's a profile of a wolf, then there's a wolf looking at you in the face. Got a little Wolfman Jack up there in the upper right hand corner, and then down below is American Werewolf in London.
Yes.
And then can you what's that?
Wolfgang Amadeus.
There you go.
Yeah.
Amadeus.
I don't know. It was Wolfgang, but I thought it was Beethoven. I don't know. You know what? Make the wolves in there. Where's Wolfgang Van Halen?
Well, right. I think I have a little spot there up by the title. Where I can do that.
Oh, yeah, there he is. There he is. I see him.
There.
Awesome. So good.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. Well, David, I'm going to introduce you to the 4th member of Carvers and Creators responsible for our carving subject tonight.
Oh, no.
It is the hollow wheel, the center spinner. And as always, Paul will tell you more about it right now.
Be careful. Be careful.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome back. Here we go. So, David, this is what we're going to do. We're going to spin this wheel twice. The first time is going to be the subject. The second spin will be the emotion for said subject. Our choices tonight are Apex Predator, Clown, Old, Frank, Wolf, Robust, good one, Aquatic, Insect, Guest Choice, so be ready, and Troll. Second spin will be the emotion, which is Smug, Terrified, Embarrassed, Guest Choice again, Insane, Drunk, Creepy, Nervous, Crying, or Clueless.
I was hoping you had boring jack-o'-lantern on there, but I guess I can't get everything I wish for.
No, we do. It's called guest choice. So
there you go. That's
if it lands on both, that's I guess what we're doing.
Yes. Get ready, guys.
So I'm in tight right now, so let's see how this spin goes.
I showed my hand.
It's a clown.
Okay.
Yikes.
Damn it.
A drunk clown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, one eye.
There you go.
I've never seen a sober clown, so that clears up a lot. You were definitely drunk when you made that decision to go to Crown College.
I think John Wayne Gacy. That's kind of how I'm thinking here.
Okay.
Yeah, too soon.
Oh. I guess it has been only 50 years since you.
All right, so we're going to give you 5 minutes if you're carving or creating with us to get all your tools together. Get your carving oil. While we do that, we're going to tell you what we're having for our carving oil tonight. David, do you want to go first and tell us what you're drinking tonight?
Well, man, we're in fact, I think I lost the can, or at least it made it to the chest. Now here we go. Want a little bit of the Ryan Geist, Cheetah.
Ooh,
Nice.
Simple lager, local. So, you got to support local
Support the
business.
local.
There you
You
go.
know.
There you go. Nicely done.
Well,
Matt,
oh,
what do you
he's
got?
drinking out of the mug like a gentleman.
okay, because I still have some of these left, but interesting fact, Mickey helped point me out. So this is a Sapporo, which is a Japanese beer, but guess what? It's brewed in Wisconsin. So yeah, so it's brewed in La Crosse, Wisconsin, which is really, really close to Ohio. So I'm drinking this on your behalf, Dave.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's like
I'm trying to drink local, just like you.
Japaconsin. I like it.
Yeah.
Man of the people.
It's your nutty neighbor to the north, right? Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not a huge Buckeye fan, dare I say, so nobody, send me a letter bomb, but we love you guys up north. You guys keep us in the good ice.
Nice. What do you got, Paul?
Okay, so I have I had this a couple weeks ago. It's a Hop Apothecary Ales. It's a local brew around here. This one's called Greek Stash Wax.
That's a great name.
It's a great name. It's druggist approved and anti-thirst therapy.
Okay.
It's
Wow.
also 8.4 by volume and 1 pint. It's also 128 drams. Remember we talked about what dram is obviously a pint.
Okay.
Oh, all right.
I don't know, but yeah, it's delicious. I've already torn into it. It's very good. I shouldn't have drank it like it was a Diet Pepsi.
Yes. We can't confirm or deny that this is not your first one. Whoops.
Is this live? Can we edit it out later?
Yeah.
We don't want the country town to feel alone. We got to keep it relative.
Tomorrow's a holiday. Thank you for your service, everybody.
There you go.
And
Absolutely.
I can have two tonight if I.
There you go.
choose.
So my beer tonight is from a brewery called Rad Brewery Company, and I'm hoping and I'm praying that it's named after the '80s movie of the same.
Yes, absolutely.
But this is Backyard Buds.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's actually there's a bunch of skating. It's a very it's probably it's got a lot of cool artwork on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so beer. Oh, I like this one. Instead of skate or die, it's beer or die. For those fans who played 720, the video game.
Yes.
Yeah,
A lot of quarters of that stupid thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cheers to all of our creations. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah.
Cheers.
Let me get this out of here. Drunk clown. So
We're going to be drunk clowns in a minute.
In a minute.
Exactly. By the end of the show, at least.
So Mick, I would like to
Yes.
give a little shout out to a good friend of the show, Sebastian Archer, who, when he was on, took the challenge, and he is a miniature, like micro miniature sculptor, one of the best in the game, and took the challenge and actually sent us an actual casting of the sculpture he did. And I would like to open this on the show.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hopefully.
Because first of all the way from Australia,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. It's the furthest anything's ever come to my house. And I mean, look at it. Just the pageantry of it alone with the little pumpkin on.
Oh my God, is that a little pumpkin?
Yeah. Oh, you didn't get yours? Oh, that's right. He hates you. I'm sorry.
It just hasn't come yet, okay? My postman he's sick or something.
Oh, he's just breathing heavy.
Yeah.
All right. So let's open this up. All right. So first of all,
Oh my God.
let me see. It's Stingy Jack. It's the first jack-o'-lantern. It's a play on the story of the first jack-o'-lantern where the guy cheats the devil and he ends up being trapped inside a turnip.
Mm-hmm.
But this comes with every one that you purchase from Sebastian. And on the back, he actually gives us credit.
Oh,
Awesome.
Nice.
Yep. It says, a tribute to my friends at Carvers and Creators. Now, here's the thing. I don't need glasses, or do I? Because my brain hurt. He sculpted this. Like,
That is insane.
no way, nothing. You need the Hubble telescope to focus on that. Unbelievable. It's so good.
Fantastic.
Although the first thing my son said is, look, he's got a dink. Because for those of you that can't see it, there's a full-on devil pulling at the
Oh
stem.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Sebastian's got great pictures. Go to Veiled Lamp. Check it out. He has them for sale. And if you are a fan of this show and you've seen that episode, everybody needs to have one of these. So
Absolutely.
I actually literally have to purchase one of those magnifying things. Like, it's unbelievable. So thank you, Sebastian. I just wanted to give credit where credit's due. This is one of the coolest things. We've had some really cool things from friends of the show, and we try to support artists, and we always go back and forth. This, when I see it correctly, is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen, because I've seen you post pictures of it under obviously a telescope, and it's
electron
awesome.
microscope.
Yeah, I got a macro lens.
Seriously, it's the size of a molecule.
That's
I guess I'm canceling the fruit basket I was going to send everybody because
it's we meet a lot of great people doing this show,
and
you included, David. So it's an embarrassment of riches. We make so many good friends. We have people that take the challenge, want to share it with us, and we have artists that we go back and forth, and we love to support the local artists, and we just try to keep the community going.
Of course.
But now Sebastian has obviously I need glasses. My eyes strained so hard trying to make the details out on that, and he does it without. But wasn't he saying he just sculpts it?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be a great idea. Mick, can you drop?
Yeah, I'll look it up in the background.
Yeah, it is crazy, because even if
Veiled
you just
Lamp on Instagram,
Veiled Lamp. If you just go peruse his stuff, your mind will be blown that it is that small. He's got this moon face guy that just every time I look at him, like, wait a minute, and it's the size of whatever, a molecule, like you said.
Well, that's we were trying to call him out, being like, "There's no way that's that small."
Yeah, no way. And he shows it to us
detail that small, and he does.
The head of a pin.
Oh, Harper, you got a nice pumpkin. Damn it.
Oh,
We'll see.
You guys all got these tall ones. I got a circular. Well, I guess he's a drunk clown. He doesn't have to be tall. He's gonna be slight.
Hey, the nice thing too is, I mean, look, David's got what's in front of him there is a challenge accepted, is what.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the round nose in, then everything becomes a clown, right?
Yeah. Little did you know I was going to be a drunk clown.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, David, tell us more about your origin, like how you started as an artist. Were you formally trained, or did you all self-taught, or how did that all work out?
A little bit of each. Shit, I was very lucky. I went to culinary school, and you get like 1 day of ice carving in culinary. So I've done a lot of other stuff. Went to art school, failed. Went to environmental technology, failed. But I passed culinary with flying colors, and we do 1 day of ice sculpting, and I was convincing enough to convince the dean of the school to let me graduate with a specialty in ice carving rather than culinary. So,
oh wow,
yeah, I think I'm the only one, especially now that the school is shut down. So it's kind of like a badge of honor. So I went into ice carving I think I was in for about 4 years, and then kind of separated from that company. Opened an ice sculpting company, and right around the same time, I think I stood in for somebody that missed a pumpkin carving contest at the local zoo, and I didn't really follow the rules, so I took last place in the competition. However, a Food Network executive saw the skull I did and was like, "Hey, come try for Halloween Wars," all the way back on season 3. And,
oh my gosh!
Back when they were still figuring out how to still treat the artist so wonderful. And,
wow, yeah.
And but yeah, so like, and then as they say, the rest is history. Frost Line, the company I started doing ice and pumpkin pretty much, anywhere, travel, gypsy life, and did a bunch of the Food Network roundabouts, Christmas Cake Wars, Halloween Wars, Hayride of Horror, Outrageous Pumpkins, all the things. And
wow.
Now we always tell everybody we just make a mess for a living in Columbus, Ohio, or otherwise. So I'm very, very fortunate. Very fortunate.
So I want to know what happened to your arm. Looks pretty deformed in this picture. What happened? Poor guy.
Yeah, that's actually that's what happens when you start to lose your hair. You start adding bells and whistles to other parts of your body.
I need to jump on that thing because mine's been gone for a while. I do have a couple of tattoos, but not
actually. Matt has an amazing lower back tattoo.
Oh, yeah, it's barbed wire, but then there's a little target in the middle of it.
The old camp stamp, eh? Is that what you know?
Yeah. It's mostly a lot of there's some butterflies on there too.
Oh, so cute. From his trip to Cancun in college.
It's funny because we don't judge him at all for it.
No. Well, because he's so damn tall, it's actually at eye level.
It's like a mural.
Oh, you guys, I thought this was we talked about this and behind the scenes. We had all of our accounting guys from all the Carvers and Creators back office. We're all saying that we weren't going to talk about this.
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to have them call you
that day. I was sick. Sorry.
So that's what makes us all different, whether it be a great back stamp or a little less hair than average. I mean, we're all just drunken clowns at the end of the day.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to tell these guys, but they don't listen.
Now, when you have kind of like the fraternity brotherhood, where you got like 4 guys that have the same matching tattoo, that's when you got to worry.
Yeah.
I actually know a guy like that, and it's on his upper thigh, which makes it even more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, so what do you do for group photos? Like, seriously.
Yeah. Pants around the ankles instantly.
Right. It's okay. We went to college together. Oh, that'll make it okay? All right.
Okay. Is that all it takes?
It's on the inside of your butt cheek. Just here, take a quick look.
Although I do know a couple of guys that have Iceman and Maverick, like the Top Gun tattoos. And they are the worst caricatures, which makes it even better. It was like a prison tattoo, like at a tattoo party. Oh my God, so much fun.
Oh my.
Yeah, my very first tattoo, the artist, it was horrible. I branded myself years ago, which was like everybody else has got a tattoo, so I just brand. Copper wire and heat sounds like a great idea.
Lord.
Yeah, that was horrible. So I went to get a tattoo, and in the middle of my horribly disfigured lion face, the artist became literally a drunken clown. He's like, "Man, I just don't think I can finish this." And I was like, "Man, what is happening right now?" It was one of the most. Well, I should say it's even worse than some of the art I've produced. So,
stop it!
It can always be worse. It can always be worse, for sure. Yeah.
You know what? Humility and self-deprecation is the sign of a great artist. And no big deal. You were just on Ryan and Kelly. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that works. No, I probably wouldn't have made it had they asked to see the tattoo. But
yeah.
That's
a pretty big get, dude. Congratulations.
No, fun. Very fun. I mean, and that's what you get. Nuts. You do. I mean, you guys know you do so many of these damn TV shows. You end up meeting producers, get to be buddies. Plus, my mother grew up in Manhattan. Well, I'm sorry, she went to college in Manhattan, spent a lot of years there. So it was like home away from home kind of idea. And yeah, I got lucky. Although I didn't get to meet Superman, which kind of was disappointing. I could hear him talking through the green room door because the panels are so small. I was like, I hear an English accent, man. I need to just Superman through the wall.
Henry
Cavill. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. He might. I was like, I could hear him through the wall, and I was like, man, maybe if I just Superman through the wall, then I can meet him. Get to go. But no, actually, to Kelly and Ryan's credit, it was just another one of those random good opportunities. Guys like Lenny Calvin and shit are up there, and just world class artists. So get to see the good posse. Got to get on, and Kelly and Ryan were surprisingly on and off camera, very pleasant, very inviting, very friendly.
Oh, that's great.
That's awesome.
Now, 3 days in the hotel room carving 9 pumpkins wasn't the funnest thing, but
Oh my God.
What do you do? Right? What do you do?
Well, it's better than being in prison for 3 days carving pumpkins.
Oh, absolutely.
Those aren't pumpkins, by the way.
Those aren't pumpkins. Those aren't pillows.
No, very fun. Very fun. I mean, there again, though, there's only so many people that do it, right? So we say, like, what are their options? They have only so much to draw from. So many people that are willing to do it. Everybody's busy, so I mean, hell, I'm just the idiot of the bunch. So take what you can get, right?
Dude, right place, right time. And it was great.
right.
I watched the whole thing.
Right.
I mean, I thought it was a great segment, actually.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. It was fun. I mean, to that point, though, it's kind of funny, like you're so policed on a lot of the shows we do, but that was actually hilarious. We had, of course, we rehearsed and we had a bunch of plans and everything else. And one of the producers came up to me and not so many words. And she was like, now, look, you got to babysit Kelly and Ryan. Like, they tend to go off script. They tend to get a little crazy.
Oh, no way.
We have this whole thing planned, but if they start getting ahead or doing this, that, the other, just tell them no. And I was like, what,
Sure.
this is going to work out great. And it was just like, the movie Up, like squirrel. Every time anything like popped up, they were just kind of lost in space. It's like, man, this is fantastic. You guys would make great pumpkin artists.
Yeah, right?
Right.
Well, hey, when they go off script, it just means more airtime and publicity, right?
Right, that's right. It's like, to that point, it was like we were supposed to do like a 2-minute segment, and they kind of gibbered their way through so much. They're like, man, I guess we're gonna have to have another 1.5-minute segment. I'm like, shit, that's like as much as I paid for the hotel room and everything else. I was like, man, that's like that makes my $1,000 an hour or a minute go up. That is even more.
Yeah, right. $1,000 a minute. Do you have an agent? Can I get that?
Shit, that. I mean, by the time they paid me and I paid for my own shit, it kind of balanced itself out.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Right.
But you know what? The beauty of things like that is that's forever.
No,
I like stuff like that because the night before we hook up and we make sure we give introductions and we hang out for a minute. And I said Regis and Kathy Lee.
Yeah.
But this show, I mean, no matter who's hosting, obviously it's Ryan and Kelly, but your mind goes back to, from me being a kid and watching this same exact show.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a pretty cool thing you did there, man. I think it was awesome.
Absolutely.
Fun. Thank you, guys. Now I did the same thing. Like I told you last night, I did the same. I was like, Ryan. Oh, damn it.
Regis.
Yeah, I'm sure it must happen all the time because Kelly immediately started teasing Ryan, and they have this whole banter. They went back and forth on it. And I was like, man, I wonder how many people even like fan mail or anything else even like sound the names wrong or just anything. I love you, Kelly and Regis. I love it. Just probably got like a shrine of like the guy from what was the Adam Sandler movie, like the list of people he has to kill.
Buscemi he's putting on the lipstick.
Right.
Wait, David, you see that last thing? William just said he's going to take your job. He only charges $8.50.
Yeah, you already have people undercutting you.
Yeah, that's actually, and he's actually like cutting himself short by about $1,000 an hour because William's fantastic. But yeah, no, that's great.
Oh, he's awesome. We love that guy.
No, yeah, absolutely. That's my hashtag Brown is beautiful brother right there for sure.
He's a good dude.
Yeah, and he's in Ohio, so it makes it great for all of us.
Yeah, okay. There's something we talked about this before, but what the hell's with Ohio, Paul? I mean,
seriously, I don't get it.
Man,
I got to go to Ohio. I think that's the problem.
I mean, so years and years ago, they made a deal with the devil, and this is where we all ended up. I'm telling you, it's kind of bizarre.
You guys made a shit deal that you would all be pumpkin carvers and not millionaires.
Yeah. Speaking of
Ohio.
news, right?
You need to speak to whoever that guy was that made the deal.
Yeah.
But no, seriously, some really talented carvers and just good people. You can be a talented artist, and if you have zero personality, you're not. What's the point? You gotta embrace it and love what you do. And you guys all seem to really love what you do to the point that we're talking about taking a road trip next season to find an event where a lot of you guys are, or somewhere we can centralize thing and get a bunch of you all
camp out in Ohio. We want to go to Ohio.
17 of us here, for sure.
Craziness.
But it's easy to fly. Like, it's kind of like when it's a good travel location. It's good. It's a central hub. The airports are easy. They go everywhere. Not too far east, not too far west, not too cold, not too hot. We do got to rake leaves the same as they do in Boston, but,
Yeah. Well.
And does anybody know that Luke Schroeder is in Ohio? He's
no, he's not in Ohio.
Well, that's what he said. I'll just
he's in Idaho.
No, he's in Iowa. I thought
Iowa.
Yeah, Luke is.
Luke knows this. He's in North Dakota. I tell him all the time.
No, he's in
he's in Sioux City, Iowa.
Right, he's in Idaho.
Sioux City, Idaho? I thought it was Sioux City, Iowa.
Sioux
Listen,
City,
when you
Iowa.
live in God's country, the rest of the country is like second fiddle.
I agree with you, Paul, 100%.
Yeah.
When you live in God's country, like I do.
Like you do. Yeah. God's country if God liked 130 degrees year round.
Well, God invented the sun. Hello.
Good point. You know what? Shame on me. How dare I?
The devil invented snow. That's what I'm
Bolivian bingo dust. That's what he called it.
Yeah, that's great.
Bolivian marching powder.
Devil's dandruff. Terrible. Awful.
Are we back in Vegas? What the hell's going on?
I've been watching Narcos too much. Sorry.
Yeah. It's the algorithm, man. It just takes you down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, I love it.
Ooh.
All right, this guy's a drunk clown, right? Okay, remind us.
Drunk clown coming up.
What do you call him?
Red flower, blue thorns. Red flower, drunk clown. Okay.
So David, I didn't know you won it 3 times. I knew you had won it at least once. I didn't know. Apologies. I didn't know you won it 3 times. At what point do they say don't come back?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, that's very flattering. I cannot even kind of take the credit. They're all team events. 2 4-man events and 1 2-man event. I'm sure you guys have heard of Chris Foltz and of course the absolutely fantastic Steve and Heather Bryce. Yeah, I'm still a solo title has evaded me, but yeah, we took first in the worlds in 4-man 2 years ago, last year, and then last year Foltz and I took year before last, Foltz and I took first in the 2-man event, but it was pretty cool because Foltz is a little twisted like me, so we actually created a gigantic pumpkin monster for the event. In fact, I'm sorry I was a little late to email you, but I emailed you over a pic of that one. It was titled Jacked My Youth. It was this awesome little pumpkin goblin monster playing with building blocks. It was a very, very fun and cool piece. Love that. One of my favorite ever. But yeah, we've also been a little bit lucky because we haven't had the same international draw we used to have just between COVID and God bless the situation in Russia and everything. So our competition probably hasn't been quite as stiff. So it's really just a good warm up for when all the internationals come back and I have to actually apply myself that much more.
This is the one, right?
Yeah, where is this? This is up in way up in Alaska, right?
Yeah, Fairbanks, Alaska. In fact, this piece we had at least 2 days where it was minus 38-ish. So it's not just about the art. Yeah, you got to keep your digits, you got to keep your fingers, you got to keep all that shit intact too, which is always fun. Always fun.
Wow. So is the wind blowing, or are you just like in that, like inside the deep freeze?
Well, it's a little bit of each. Some days you have windy days, some days you have snow, but man, once it gets, anything below minus 20, then it's not so bad when you're really, really, really moving and really doing a lot of heavy duty work. But when you stand still with a die grinder just frozen in place, the fingertips, the toes. In fact, Foltz has got a great little adage. He's like, man, don't you just hate when it gets to be pissed off cold? When it's just pissed off cold. And I was like, that's right. It's like doing the pee-pee dance. You can't even concentrate. You're just freezing your ass off. Nothing makes sense. And then you look around and you're like, why do I do this? But no, it's great, man. I mean, it's and plus it's Alaska. It's the last frontier. When you're not carving ice, then everybody and their brother's got a freezer full of halibut and salmon and everything else that is.
Oh, yeah.
So you eat good, you party good, and if you're lucky, you get a nice little dangly ribbon around your neck with a chunk of gold hanging off the end of it.
Oh my God! And how many teams compete? And like I know you mentioned the 2-man and the 4-man. What for each?
Yeah, we average anywhere between probably 8 to 18 multi-block teams. That's the 4-man event, and each multi-block, we say multi-block is in you get 10 blocks of ice. Each one measuring around 6 feet by 4 feet by 3 feet. It's about the size of a household refrigerator. So the big events are 10 of those blocks. 2-man event usually has a little higher, bringing in probably anywhere between 15 to 30 teams, depending on the year. The Pumpkin Monster was a 2-block event. And then 1-man, you get one of those big blocks. But yeah, it's just, giant ice. We harvest it right out of a gigantic, big pond in Alaska. Everything is heavy machinery. In fact, just the art itself is like a beautiful ballet of heavy machinery, artists, 6-foot chainsaws, people running around with the craziest ideas ever, a lot of coffee and hot chocolate and otherwise. I mean, it's just a completely bizarre environment, you know?
What I'm gonna ask you a question about this picture, because I've seen some of the other stuff, and I know that there's probably great techniques to get it kind of more matte covered or this glassy finish one. I know that I've seen people heat them up with a torch to get them this kind of, is that a thing with lake water? I mean, because it looks like it's crystal clear.
No, it's actually, well, I guess the short version is pond water is clear. It's all clear. And then when we make the ice blocks in-house, we make what we call Kleinbell ice, which is named after the gentleman who invented the machine. It's just basically a circulating system where the water circulates. It freezes bottom up. So when, you know, like your drinking ice in your house is frozen outside in, that's why you have that
whitish inside.
Yeah. This ice is frozen bottom up, and then when you done freezing the block, you have kind of like a little cupcake frosting on top. You just cut that off, and what's left behind is just crystal clear, beautiful ice. So yeah, to your point about clearing these things up a little, if it's not too cold, a blowtorch works. If it's cold as hell, then a blowtorch will make the piece literally shatter. So it's always good if you have and then wind is great if you have enough time to wait for the wind. You get a nice wind polish, and that takes care of everything. But yeah, if you start with a clear block, you can always end with a clear block. In fact, these are done in a speed carving format. This is with the great Danny Kissel in West Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
I think we had somewhere like 42 single blocks to carve in 2.5 days. So these are just like run around, mad dash, buzz saw, torch, move on to the next. And, you know, like you said, the finished product, yeah, that's the same event right there. But it's great to, if you can get the right weather to where it allows you to torch a piece. And at the same time, you know, like there's very few textures and contrast in ice. So like in the big show, like Alaska, for example, you want to have multiple textures, multiple contrasts. So you might scratch a piece up. You might leave a piece cloudy. You might, you know, just to mix it up, because it's all crystal clear. And there's nothing harder to photograph than crystal clear art, you know?
Right.
You'll have a lot of variations. And then, you know, and then the white ice in and of itself too, like on our world championship elephant piece that Steve Rice designed and we all, you know, executed. You know, of course, an elephant has white tusks. So we salvaged the white ice that was on top, turned that into tusks, little things like that really add to the ambiance of it.
That's amazing that that's just stuff I had no idea about, that there's different types of ice.
No, it's absolutely. And then, you know, if you don't circulate, you get white blocks. Yeah, this was actually fun. Steve had the idea when it was all said and done. He's like, you know, it'd be great if you cut the guy off the top and then mounted the elephant. And I was like, man, that sounds great. And then you get on top of a full-scale elephant, and you realize that, well, between like the little bit of heat in your pants, it kind of melts the ice just a hair, and then you refreeze to the ice. And I was like, man, I'm stuck on this damn elephant. I'm stuck on the elephant. Like, I'm going to die here. I'm going to be here till spring.
That's beautiful. Now,
you know, it gives you a sense of scale. It was absolutely incredible.
So now the way you removed so much underneath, the integrity of the ice and the balance, is that literally just on the four legs at that point?
Yeah, that's it, man. Steve Bryce, I can't give him enough credit. He's like the evil genius, mad scientist of the ice carving world. He makes a lot of the tools in-house by hand, and his designs are second to none. And this was actually a dream of his for many years to try to figure this build out. So not only is the entire elephant supported by the legs, but the head right around the beaded necklace part is all frozen on separate. So we had about a 4,000 head that actually had to get fused into the rest of the body. And, you know, all those, because, you know, we work in giant Legos basically. So that in and of itself is not only a challenge, but it's bizarre what all those things hold. I mean, you got a huge piece of heavy equipment holding that thing in the air for like 12 hours so it can seam. If it seems, if you get enough water, if the water doesn't make it pop, I mean, all the things. Actually, we were walking back out from the chow hall into the campground, and which is where we compete. And, you know, like everybody's walking, like looking through peeking through the trees, like, oh my God, is the head still there? Is the head still there? You know? And then, of course, walking underneath the head, like doing all the details on the chest and the feet and stuff, you've always got like a looming 4,000-pound death drop above your head that could fall at any time. So
kill you. Yeah.
It always adds to a sense of urgency.
I can't believe that you could just fuse that much weight onto ice.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest fuses that's ever really been performed. It kind of surprised us, actually. I mean, some of the, you know, you have like 4 men on the team and at least 2 of us I won't mention any names, Chris Foltz. Like we had like, Jesus Christ, man. Like you just keep looking up. And then somebody actually asked, they're like, how do you work knowing that at any time this thing above your head can fall? And it's like, man, you worry about it a little bit at first. And then you just kind of just, before you know it, you're just in the groove and you quit thinking about it. You do your best work. And
Right.
back to that point, just hope that nothing comes crashing down, I guess you'd say. But yeah, that's part of ice. They just can't harvest blocks much bigger than that. Those blocks there were about 42 inches thick, which pushes the 1.5 ton weight limit. And the big machinery, once you get too much more than that, then they can't even hardly do much with those blocks. So yeah, if somebody could give us, a 20-foot by 10-foot block of ice, more power to them, but nobody could ever get the right equipment in to move the damn thing around.
All right, so I have a couple questions here. The trunk fused, horns, tusks fused, ears fused.
Yep. Everything's fused out. In fact, Chris Foltz, that was his baby. Chris Foltz did the entire head. So he will make like an ice table. So we had a giant table. We put the block up so he could do the head. And then he did the ears, fused the ears. He did the tusks. We put the tusks on after the head was mounted. He put the trunk on. And during one of the lifts to try to figure out how to get that damn thing mounted, we came down a little hard and the trunk broke off, but back to ice. The beauty of ice is if it's a good clean break, you don't have much to worry about. You just reattach. So the trunk got reattached up top, and there's typically scaffolding wrapped all around this shit. And it was, it was a crazy build. The Warrior on top was a fuse. All the spears, which are, 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches thick. I mean, magnificently thin ice. All that's fused on. All the spikes. Pretty much any detail you see that's not, and then of course you can see, kind of the benefit and disquality of ice. You can see some of the vertical and horizontal lines where the blocks actually together. So I spent a day and a half inside what would be, I guess, near the spinal column of that thing because Steve was worried about how heavy the body was to crash the legs. So he's like, man, we need to hollow this out a little bit. So I was in like an ice torpedo for a day and a half, just, feet down, just, chisel. I mean, it's a completely wild setup. In fact, we got some good pictures of that somewhere. I'll be sure to share them with you. But yeah, man, no, it is. It's you figure that thing probably is pushing 12,000 pounds easily, and not to count the, all the extremities and everything else, but that's part of the beauty. And we've had more the ice block to the head for sure.
That explains my question earlier, which was the integrity of the ice over the legs. So you hollowed out the whole body that makes sense.
About a third of it. About a third, yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah. It's that much safer. It's just that much safer because you never know. I mean, you never know. So when you start cutting supports and stuff, I mean, it happens. In fact, if you Google or YouTube ice sculpture crash, then the most famous video by far is one of Junichi, who's like a master in our industry. Junichi was doing a gigantic piece of a woman laying elbow down on her side, and he cut the support off one side, it held. He cut the support off the other side, and all 10 blocks came crashing down on top of him. And he was just lucky enough to where the ice fell in a manner to where he kind of had a little pocket that he got stuck inside of. And I mean, it's bizarre. But it's quite a hell of a video. But yeah, it's that, man. You build, you hope it holds. But just like in any industry, like at the big show, when you're running around and then you'll hear like the buzz in the campground, like, man, like such and such crash, or when you hear the actual crash itself, man. I mean, it's a big safety concern to say the absolute least. I mean, people are very injured in this, but it still keeps it cool. No pun intended.
Well,
so when you go ahead, Maddie.
No, I'm fascinated. So I mean, this is just amazing to look at, let alone the hearing how it went up. So I'm assuming this is the competitor in me, right? You get this thing to go, and you go run and judges, get the hell over here now. I don't care. You just
right.
Just think, because I imagine there's people coming out of the mess hall or wherever you're talking about from eating and just looking at that and going, I'm going to go ahead and go home now. I got nothing. I mean, compared to this is absolutely stunning because like Paul said, putting this kind of weight in the air with, I'm so used to like, supports or some kind of a, anything, right? And like where you'd see like giant steel structures on the inside. This is just beautiful. Right. It's all just gravity's doing it, I guess.
No, you're lucky when you can actually make people like hope they're going home early because it's that good. But to that point, we had about 6 hours before judging, we had we had 2 big 4x4s and then one down to 1 2x4 under the neck of the elephant, which really just, I think, added like a placebo effect of comfort because the 2x4 would have split like a toothpick.
Right.
But you'll have a lot of pieces, that go up, and you'll have, we call them kickers, but it's, inevitably just that. It's a piece of ice that just kind of supports everything. So there's a lot of great videos of people cutting the kicker. And that's the moment of truth. It's like, is the kicker going to hold? Is it going to hold? Is it going to hold? And then there's been multiple crashes. Again, there's great videos on YouTube, and luckily nobody's at least in Alaska, has died, but there's definitely been some good head injuries, a good couple broken toes, good broken fingers, things like that. But
nice.
It gets very exciting. There's just a good friend of ours, Dean Damaris, hell of an ice artist and otherwise in Texas. He always jokes, he's like, there's a lot of art, but ice carving is a full contact art. And I'm like, that's exactly what it is, So yeah, man, it's fun. The big show, as they say, but
wow,
huge ice. And sadly, there's just not a ton of events anymore where you really get that big ice. So, there's a couple, there's Italy and there's one in Spain, but it's just such a rare breed, man. When you get the chance to risk your life and freeze to death under a chainsaw and everything else, then take it, right? You only live once. It's the freak show traveling circus with chainsaws.
Have you gotten to travel some of those international shows?
Yeah, I was actually going to go to Italy this year, but I joined the board of directors for Ice Alaska in 2018. So I go up to Alaska as early as early January. We build an entire interactive ice park. Then we compete. Then we usually stay to tear down. So most of my travels are limited to Alaska now in the wintertime. And we got very lucky. A great guy, David Hubbard, in the ice business. He picked up the contracts for Norwegian Cruise Line's ice bars. So we do a lot of the ice bars, traveling international for Norwegian, things like that. But yeah, Alaska is pretty much the only big show I do anymore.
Wow.
Now, do you see it in your future that you could possibly bring something closer to home? I mean, you do have the weather. I know that for a fact.
Well, it's kind of a shame. We used to have what we call the National Ice Carving Association, which did a lot of that. We had local competitions. They were spread out all over the lower 48. Sadly, between the kind of downturn in most culinary schools that don't really have an interest in ice carving, and then the same with just a lot of the there's not really a great catalog. I guess back to pumpkins. If there wasn't good TV shows on, then how many people really know that there's professional pumpkin carvers out there?
Right.
Anybody that watches YouTube on Thursday night.
Everybody. But we just lost a big draw or ability to kind of tap into anything. And there's a few events, there's limited, but yeah, man, it's kind of a shame. We, in fact, a gentleman, Stan Kalanko out of New York, he for a while tried to get a good, he was making big blocks, and we were having these big events with big ice blocks, but it just all kind of went away, sadly. So hopefully we can generate something soon, and Ice Alaska is getting more popular again and things like that. But for the most part, it's a travel or nothing kind of deal.
I think you're the guy to lead the second coming of this, David. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass or anything, but you obviously have the pedigree, right? You have the passion for it, and you have the know-how. I mean, you're on the board for the biggest thing in the continental United States, right?
Right.
Why not try to bring this to cities? This could be a cool, like a New Year's Eve event, even.
Oh my God, yeah.
In a metropolis like New York
City
or Boston, or somewhere where it's going to be cold and you're going to have that wind. The wind, yeah. Tucson's a perfect spot for it.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.
Yes, it'd be called the Ice Water Challenge.
It's actually more.
But obviously on small scale, ice carving is everywhere, especially around Christmas and New Year's, right? You get these couple of blocks, and they'll I've seen it all over the place with the smaller, sponsored pieces. But I think there's a definite market for like a big world-class carving event in a big city in the north, most likely northeast. I'm gonna just throw it out there because we do have the ocean breeze. I think this would be a huge event, and the sponsorship that would go into it and the turnout would be fantastic. People are starving for things to do right now with their family, and people love competition. So if you're a dad and you can bring your kids to see something cool like this, and you know something could go wrong as a dad, I'm in. You give me the possibility of catastrophe and competition, I'll bring the kids there for 8 hours. I don't care.
Yeah. Right. No, you're right. I mean, it is. It's kind of a shame. We say the same. It's a rebuilding process. You know, like I hate to say it, there was just a couple bad apples that helped to kind of turn off a lot of the big promoters from the industry and those events. So now it is kind of a rebuilding. Plus, you know, COVID, just like with pumpkin carving, COVID destroyed so many investors and so much time and effort that people have been putting into re-getting a lot of these events together. But to that regard, I mean, hell, you pick the venue, and I've always, if you can't tell, been able to talk my way into about anything, be it sponsors or an event. So I'd love to start rekindling some of that for sure.
Yeah, but you also bring up a good thing. Like, for instance, like Pat's question here, are there any good resources for learning how to create this? You could be the person that carries, you know, the next generation of ice carvers as well.
Sure.
Yeah, and to that exactly, it's definitely been on the docket. We Chris Foltz is just a phenomenal, I think 7-time world wood carving champion. But we through Ice Alaska and through the World Championships, we've actually started to cultivate the new collegiate edition, for example. So now we're finally getting college kids back interested in doing this. And just to that point, we laugh. It's like, man, nobody really thinks about it, but most of the ice carvers that anybody knows or otherwise are 35 at best. Usually they're pushing 50, they're getting older, and it's, we always say for every year you ice carve, you take 2 years off of your body. And it's like, no, we're just kind of a dying breed here. So luckily we're starting to, cultivate more and more in the World Championships, having colleges represent, actually get re-involved. So hopefully this time in the next couple of years, we'll actually have a more interested younger generation that actually want to start spreading this around rather than just, playing patty cake with the same guys, which is also a disadvantage because you've got the same guys that have been doing the industry so long. So any real big promoters, any real big venues that they haven't already tapped into and or pissed off and or, broken their budgets, it's a rebuilding process. But no, I mean, that's kind of my role now is to do just that, try to get the next generation.
Brand ambassador. Yeah, you're the face of it now. Well, I got a question about just a career, right? Because I know that there's tons of resorts and stuff around here. Phoenix and Scottsdale, all these places have every damn weekend. There's some, high-end, millionaire hangout of a kick-ass buffet, or like you said, there's cruise ships and stuff. Imagine if you're good at this and you're cranking this out, you could probably make a fun, decent living, right? If you just want to be the ice guy and just hop from resort to resort to event to event.
No, absolutely, and that's kind of the sacrifice. Well, I mean, to some it's a sacrifice, family guys, God bless them, that can't travel as much. The wives worry, they have kids to take care of, and more power to them. But if you're in the exclusive gypsy life like I have been for years now, then it definitely is. I wouldn't say so much, we're not going to make millions off of it, but no, I've been very fortunate to make, an adequate living, traveling, and for example, when we do the cruise ships, we might be in Italy, we might be in San Juan, we might be in Barcelona.
So cool.
So, I'll just tack on 2 weeks to the back end of the install, and I get to, float around the countries and do whatever I want kind of thing. And it's cool. Great. And, the international draw is great. In fact, sadly, there's a lot of ice carvers in the USA, but there's not a whole lot of guys that really do much more than just crank stuff out of their studios and make a great living. But, it's kind of like you start going international and you meet a lot of the greats, people that actually do this all over the world, and they're actually open for, just like you said, to help spread this next generation of thing. So, hopefully we'll catch up in a couple of years and you guys will see my team of quote unquote ice flunkies that are actually moving blocks for me and making good money doing it.
Well, hopefully we can help you out with that.
That'd be fantastic. Every little bit helps. Kelly and Ron weren't into picking up chainsaws, so I got to take what I can get.
Well, we'll throw it out there into the universe. This will be living on YouTube, and hopefully we put a hashtag in this episode that says, ice carving, and then that one guy that has that gazillion-dollar idea. I mean, could be me. I'm just saying, I think the ice championships would work perfect in Boston around January. I think it would be a huge draw.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we've been dying for a new Nationals, man. The Nationals, they just kind of went away. Like I said, it's kind of a shame. And then when guys get comfortable in their own business, which it's great when they're making money, but when they're making money, they don't care as much about the competition. In turn, venues die. And frankly, people get selfish and they like to take care of things first. But there's definitely a market to bring it home that is lacking in this great art style for sure.
Absolutely.
Sure, but what you get is if you set up an event where it's a winner take all kind of thing, right? Where you get the most passionate artists that have the balls and the confidence to say, my team's going to win this. We're going to this. We're taking it all. Instead of everybody showing up, fat in the wallet already to put on a display. Maybe that's how it starts again, right? Maybe it's take all. Totally, like, this is what I got. Boom! I'm throwing my money on the table. Who's got the balls to take it?
I agree. No, that's it. It's so exciting. Like, we do a lot of speed carving events. A great kid, Tater Edwards, I don't know, he just finished Outrageous. We used to have great events in town, speed carving on stages, loud music, rock and roll, everybody screaming, shit like that. And people just love that. Chainsaws are flying, snow's going everywhere. It's so exciting. But it goes back to the same point. Like, we just need the venues and people will come, kind of thing. If you build it, they will come. Yeah, there he is. There's little Tater and Daniel Miller. God bless.
Which one's
which one's you? I get a jacket.
I'm the bearded winner of that competition. I might add. Tater and Daniel hate that part.
First, all right, let me just give a shout out to two of my other favorite humans on earth, is Danny and Tater. Like, great dudes. Like, you surround yourself with some pretty cool people, man.
Oh man, in fact, I'm godfather. I'm married Tater. I got ordained to marry Tater years ago. Can you believe it?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm godfather to his first child, actually. Yeah, we've been friends for many years. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, back when I was still supportive of the other families.
Make sure you raise him to be a little Viking, just like well, I guess you're not really in charge of raising if you're a godfather.
Well, yeah, touche though. He's his middle child, Max, is absolutely Tater 2.0. So stay tuned. He's got Vikings in his blood. He's got cloud. He's great. I was like, man, boy, the apple did not only not fall far from the tree, but it is still attached to the tree. Like, it is great.
Yeah, such a good dude.
No, absolutely.
Look at that. We kind of glossed over the fact that you are a veteran of the pumpkin carving scene, my friend. And apparently is that Jameson? Yeah, it looks like Jameson.
Yeah, that's what happens when you don't win the finale. Yeah, that was in fact, I always laugh. I was like, I think I got starstruck. It was so hard. One of my rewards for winning a couple of the mini challenges, one of them was Ray, Villafane was supposed to carve with me. And of course, after the legals, they realized that Villafane or anybody else for that matter shouldn't be carving with a competitor because that's cheating. So we wasted a good hour in trying to refigure out a format that I could actually work with. And I was like, man, I don't know, between being a little bit starstruck and just kind of dumbfounded, I think I did one of the dumbest pumpkins I've ever done on a TV show. So the next morning, it was the only one left still out there in the, the minefield known as, after the fact. So Willie Twos, you guys know Willie. He just now.
Yeah, Willie.
Willie and I were running around, and somebody had left behind, I guess, their party favor for the night. So, yeah, that was me. I was like, man, this is going to make a great pick. This is exactly how the finale goes when you don't win, right there.
That's great. Well, that's a big pumpkin too. That's got to be what?
Yeah, that was around a 1,600 pounder, if I'm not, or 1,400, I believe. It was but it was one of those we had. That, just like anything, when you do a pilot, I mean, we do the first season of any show, right? So they were learning how to get the pumpkins up off the ground. You guys were building these big stands that were not supportive of the weight. Before you know it, none of the armatures or anything else most of us had built could be used because they had to axe the stands. And before you know it, these giant pumpkins got put on the ground and, kind of thing. So you guys know the magic behind TV. It was kind of amazing how what you're like, man, this is going to be great. I got this great idea and it's going to be fantastic. And then you're like, wait a second, the quarterback got injured, man. We got to, we got to go with plan B kind of thing. So plan B was definitely not undoing for sure.
Yeah.
Well, point of correction there, my friend. Mine was the pilot season. You guys got
right. Yeah, I forgot.
all the bells and whistles. I was so jealous of your season. That was like a star-studded. Everybody got the awesomeness season. I was very jealous of that. Mine was the pilot.
Yeah, I should say
I did not know. I didn't. Nobody knew it was the pilot until after it aired, and it was like, oh, they changed the format.
Yeah,
we were the pilot.
You're right. It was like when Halloween baking championships turned into Halloween wars kind of thing. You know, right?
Yeah. If you take out a pumpkin, you can just call it whatever you want.
No, yeah. Fair point.
Now, sadly, I hope they figure it out because, you know, there's a lot of us out there, and there's a lot of people that are fans of this art.
No, absolutely.
And there's plenty of people in the Midwest that love to sit and watch people bake fucking cookies. Sorry, swore, but you come Halloween time, people want to see people carve pumpkins, and they want to see people do well. Because you don't get to see people do what we do on a regular basis. It's something you see photographs of. Some you get to steal and post on your Facebook profile as your own.
Absolutely right. No, 100%.
But when you put when you can watch an artist with a tool actually scrape away and do that, especially in a competition format, I think that's way more impressive than setting an oven to 350, cutting to commercial, and coming back with a finished cookie.
I agree. Totally agree. In fact, you guys
call me biased, but
yeah, we love what we do. Travis Martinez, we actually worked on a Christmas Cake Wars years ago together. But Travis, I believe, I want to say he was the winner of the one season of Halloween Wars where they didn't have pumpkins. I was like, congratulations. Like, really? You think this is a good thing, man? He's like, I want to be remembered for being on the most hated series of his life. I was like, yeah, fair point. You're right. Can't lie. You did a great cake, though, bro.
Yeah, you're the best baker on a Halloween.
You did fantastic. Yeah.
Hey, a win's a win. You can never take a win away.
No, that's absolutely
no matter what the format is. I mean, I'm salty for all kinds of reasons, mostly because I'm from the Northeast. But I think that I don't think we get enough respect when it comes to the art form. I think, especially on in certain formats, I think we need our own. We need our own arena.
I think we got our own arena, Paul. But this is it, baby.
That's it.
We're the ambassadors. We can't say the ambassadors because there's been so many greats that have gone before us. But
representatives. We're representatives.
We're representatives. We are. Yeah, exactly. We're the one. Or we're the. I don't know if this is even right because when I say love boat, people don't even know what that is anymore. But the cruise directors. How about that?
We're the three amigos. The Chevy Chase.
There you go.
There we go.
With that version. For the pumpkin carvers, that's what we are. Tres amigos.
Would you like to kiss
you're absolutely right, man. There's only so many people. I mean, God bless, we laugh. We're like, like anything. I mean, I wonder who the first person actually was that saw one of Ray's or Andy's or Sue's first pumpkins years ago and was like, yeah, let's make this a thing. And then it stuck, luckily, enough to where it got to be popular. But you're like, man, if you think about it, just in the world of the few artists that do it, the few that have actually picked it up, and I mean, you figure out of thousands and thousands and thousands of people that have carve a jack-o'-lantern every year, the ones that actually go, man, I'd like to get into this quote-unquote 3D thing. It is pretty, it's still amazingly lacking in numbers, I guess, even though it is getting better and better. So you figure it's being that it's still growing and being that it is so fascinating, there's absolutely needs to be a venue. It's like anything else. I mean, why let the art form die? Just like ice. I mean, it's like, man, it's amazing how it slowly dwindles when nobody cares. You're like, well, I mean, what do we do to increase, interest? And there's no need to, because as soon as people see it, they go, wow, that's like, watching the moon landing. But there's just not great venues for it. So I totally agree that there needs to be an arena, there needs to be a coliseum for this craft, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's to your point. When years ago, when Ray and Andy and Sue and Dean and there was only a couple of them doing it, right?
Right. No, absolutely.
There was no internet.
Yeah.
So that's lightning in a bottle, and they're amazing artists to this day. The reason we're all sitting here having this conversation is because of the great artists before us.
No, absolutely right.
Absolutely. So when we first started this, it was through COVID, and Matt and I just love whiskey, and we wanted to do this anyway. And he's in one side of the world, all the same.
Yeah.
But we're so far away. That was a great way for us to connect. And then we bring in Mick. Now we've got this cool thing. Now we get to hang out with people like you and all these great artists and shit. This is what it's all about. Like you remember did you ever used to go to events just when you saw that there would something being like live carving? I used to go to events just to be like, there's somebody going to be carving a pumpkin live, and it's not going to be triangles. It's going to be artwork.
Absolutely. No, totally
so like
agree.
before the day of the internet, if you could get a chance to see Ray or see, Ray and Andy, whatever, right? You would have to see that on a flyer. And then catch it at the right time. And then obviously the network shows gravitate towards, now you get Halloween Wars. Now you've got Outrageous Pumpkins. That's cool as shit. That is really, really cool. And now you have the internet, which is a game changer and Instagram and Facebook and all these things. It's like you can see people stuff. But I think there's something to be taken away from it, is to see somebody do it live is always still the coolest thing in the world.
Totally agree.
Seeing a picture of the finished product is cool. Seeing somebody time lapse it is a different thing. But to sit there and watch somebody and stand there and talk to them while they do it is always still my favorite. That's why I love doing events, and you'll have like a young kid sitting over your shoulder being like, why?
100%.
Why? But you can tell they actually mean it.
What are you doing? What's going on? No, I 100% say I'm a sad.
How long is this going to take you? Way longer than you're allowed to stay awake. Like that's okay. My mom will let me stay. All right, kid. Pull up a chair. I will sit here with you and humor you the whole time. Because if in 5 years you're carving pumpkins or you're an artist, that's pretty cool.
No, I agree. 100%.
You know what I mean? We got to make more. I mean, I'm not getting younger. I can only beat my kids so much to carve pumpkins.
Yeah.
And apparently they don't care because they don't want to carve pumpkins right now. Good artists too. Someday you'll see. I'll be retired.
You're absolutely right. I mean, it's for the sappy nostalgia of the whole thing, man. When a kid comes up and he's like, hey, like, what's going on? And like his parents are ready to absolutely kill him. They want to go home. They're done with the hot cider. They're done with the thing. And the kid is like, cool, I'll take the carb. Yeah, but you're 8. It's like, I'll be there home soon, but I'll be like, man, I don't know. Maybe that kid's not going to do drugs one day. Maybe that kid's not going to be crazy. Maybe he's going to stay out of trouble and he's going to be working beside me in 10 years. I absolutely. That's completely 100% valid, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's a cool thing because you can tell when kids are dialed in too.
Oh, absolutely.
And they're like, "You ready? You ready to go? You ready to go?" And they're like, "No, I want to watch." Like,
right.
Oh, I don't even want to do it, and you want to watch me do it. You care more about it than I do at this point.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Right.
Come back in 3 hours. It's going to be so impressive.
Right. I love it. We used to, excuse me, one of our ice events, we would carve ice bricks with kids' names in them. Very simple, cliche, just gives the kids something to do. What's your name? Here's your ice brick. And I was doing an event once, and like I'd seen this kid like 15 times, 3 years in a row. He comes up multiple times at events. He's all he wants is his name in this ice brick. And I'm getting ready to put his name in a brick, and the dad kind of yanks me to the side. He's like, dude, if you give my kid one more brick that I have to put in my freezer for the next year, I'm going to lose my kid. And I'm laughing, and I'm thinking exactly that, right? Like the kid is, I mean, there's nothing to it. The kid is so fascinated still there every year by the same thing, just watching and watching. And
that's great.
That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it.
Yeah, but that kid asked for a chainsaw for Christmas, not a place.
Right. Yeah. Daddy. But the crazy guy with the chainsaw said, I can do it too.
He's like, here's an Xbox 3000. He's like, no, I want a Dremel and a chainsaw.
Yes.
I guess like on topic, but kind of also just a funny quirk in the regard of the same pumpkin carving. I love like the top 3 probably comments is something along the lines of like, hey, Dad, can we go home and do this? Are you going to do one of these? Are you going to do this when we get home? Kind of thing. And
I hear that. Yeah, that's definitely
man, son, this is the first time we're going to let you down in your life. It's not going to be the last. But no, I'm not doing that at home. I can't do it. I hate to say, I know I was Superman until this guy showed up, asshole.
Yeah, it's the same old song, no matter where we are, right?
Absolutely. No, absolutely right.
I still love it. I really do. I love when we gotta. You gotta make the next generation.
Oh,
Seriously.
absolutely right, man. Absolutely.
You know, and it's the live events. That's what I mean. There's such a market for this stuff right now.
For sure. For sure.
Paul and
I need more of a
got
market
to-
work because honestly, I want to go to an event instead of be working at it. I want to show up and just that would be sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Okay, hang on, I'm just reading that. Cool. Okay.
I Mickey, can you read it? Because I can't read.
One family left their kid at my table for like 2 hours at a demo. I have 6 kids, so I was used to the questions, but surprised that they just left.
Yeah. You know,
Wait,
he's
who
right.
left?
You become like a part-time
Like,
babysitter.
The family's like, yeah, the family's like, you can have them. You know, Paul and I did. Paul and I did these couple of carving classes together at Vulture City, and had the most fun because you're darting around from table to table, and I think what was it? Probably average of 20, maybe 30 people.
20
and,
between 20 and 30, yeah.
Yeah, and their families, and like some young kids, some older folks, and it was so fun to see the ones who wanted to be there and were taking it seriously and looking and getting the next step, and the ones who were just like just digging and like, look at this one, you know, like, and it was great because inevitably you connect with one or two of these kids, and they are taking your teaching, whatever our advice, right, and making something really cool, and then they're walking out proud of this thing, and it was like, all right,
absolutely.
there's good in the world, whatever.
Of course. Agreed. 100% agreed. No, I love it. In fact, I had a kid at an event once that, I mean, still to this day, just one of those touch your heart moments. We're working, and my business cards aren't like the coolest thing in the world, but they're heavy, thick plastic. Just because in ice, everything gets soggy. It's like having a pocket full of mashed potatoes when you carry paper cards. So I'm always like, man, I got good heavy duty plastic cards. So this kid comes up, and I'm talking to his mom. I was like, here's my card. And I mean, he might have been 11, 12 years old, and whatever. And I give him, his mother, my card, and then he turns around and he pulls out these handmade business cards that, it's just pieces of paper that he's got his name written on and a little doodle and things. And he's like, here's my card. And I was like, yes, like, I love it. Like, you actually you're that guy. You're that kid. And he's like, yeah, man, do you have any advice for getting pumpkin tools? Like, what do I need to do this? I was like, man, honestly, yeah, you could probably do more with your mind at this point than I can with tools, son. Like, it's great. Like, keep it up, bro, for sure.
That's so cool.
Atta boy. I love that.
Exactly. Those are the moments for sure.
Matt, I was just as proud of the kids that like completely would not listen to me.
Yeah. No, right?
I'm like, so you're just gonna drill a hole in there. Like, we didn't even get to eyes yet, but you're already working on eyes. And then they're like, so how do I do the lips? And I'm like, well, I was in the middle of telling you that, but now you're drilling a hole. It's really a pumpkin.
Or the ones who are literally harvesting the seeds out of the middle. I'm like, well, we were supposed to break through, but now you have most of the seeds out. That's
all
right.
Yeah. I remember there was 2 little girls that came running up and said, we need a piece of pumpkin. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, we poked the eyes out. And I'm like, we haven't gotten eyes yet. And they're like, yeah, I know, but we poked the eyes out. Like, they didn't give that's what I was saying. And they're like, we need a piece. We're gonna make eyes. And I'm like, you know what? I want to see this at the end. So I chopped a big piece of I'm like, knock yourself out. This is our class. Don't let your art teacher drag you down. That ruined me. So I always remember that. I love when people want to listen and they want to learn, but I also love when people go off the grid because, hey, you're being creative. Who cares? As long as you're having fun, as long as you leave with 10 fingers and I don't, have to feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
And they're your own.
Yes, right. As long as you don't chop off my finger, that would that would really go off the rails.
Yeah, that's ice carving 101, man. That's to that point. It's like, man, my God, the kid is handling the bits. He's playing with the chainsaw. He's holding it by the dangerous end. Oh my God, put the tool down, kid.
Forget that.
He's holding the chain and trying to pull start it.
Yeah, no, exactly. He's like, man, let me put this between my legs when I turn it on. No.
Stand on it. That's
Ooh. I had a question about this. What was this?
Oh, yeah. That was actually a really, really awesome project. So this guy's got the fastest van. I think it was the fastest van in the country at one point. It's a dragster, quarter-mile racer. It's called Ruckus, and that is Mrs. Ruckus. So he builds all these custom hot rods and shit. And he, back when I was more gym related, but he kept coming up to me talking about he had a project. I kind of thought he was a little crazy because he kept talking just random hot rod stuff. I was like, man, I don't really do hot rods, etc. Fast forward, he's like, I would just like you to do a relief sculpture in the hood of my like my new van, Mrs. Ruckus. And I was like, I don't know exactly much about that, whatever. But this guy he's got a great technique. He takes Bondo and layers it, maybe 1/16 of an inch at a time until he's got a thick enough, I guess, canvas to where he can actually do his relief lettering and all this other shit, like the word Ford. Yeah, it's all done by him layering the Bondo. So inevitably, he gave me about an inch thick, layer of Bondo, and he was like, man, I want something that's just bizarre, kind of abstract, but I want it to be an evil woman. And I was like, all right. So yeah, I got out the 1/16 and the 1/8 Dremel bits, and we just went to town on this. We did like 4 different versions, as you can see from the right. There was a lot of mock-ups. He approved everything. I wasn't exactly satisfied with some of them, so it's back to the drawing board. Can we modify this? So he would spend another 2 or 3 weeks putting Bondo down to refill the work, and then we'd come back to it and come back to it. So the one on the left is the finished product. It's his. I think it's like it's a 1986 Ford van, something to that effect. But it's got somewhere in the neighborhood of like 3,000 horsepower. I mean, it's insanity. Yeah, and it's
the whole inside.
Yeah, the guy's name's Tom. If you think to look him up online, but Mrs. Ruckus or Ruckus, the van, and you'll find a link somewhere to watching this guy's hot rod blaze through the shit. But he's got a new project for me next year. Actually, he's like, that's cool, but. It's, I guess, his Bondo work technically, because nobody does it, is like some of the only in the country. So he's like, dude, you'll be the only one that's ever done something like this in Bondo. So yeah, that was a really cool project, really fun.
Oh, that's so neat.
That's cool, man. And thank God you explained it, because I had no idea what I was looking at.
And to your point exactly though, it's just like it's like the places that this craft takes you, right? Like you saw what I used to like, I don't know, you guys have probably done similar. Like I'll do a practice pumpkin or something. And it's just sitting, going to die, going to become deer food. So it's like, what can I do with this? So I'll just drop them off at random places, or, hey, you guys want a free pumpkin? Or, hey, do you guys got a place for a pumpkin? Whatever. Yeah. So that's exactly how that started. I dropped it off at the local gym or something. And he's like, oh, you're the guy that dropped off the pumpkin. Fast forward, can you please do my hot rod? I'm like,
sure. Oh, wow.
Okay. So that's what I got to start doing.
Oh yeah,
you start talking about
actually dropping them off in my backyard and feeding.
I mean, you'd be surprised. I've got gift cards, I've got meal tickets, I've met probably 1 or 2 crazy women even out of the whole deal.
Oh, all right. Well, that's not all bad.
I met my wife.
You get lucky.
Well, so that's it. You know what, Paul? I'm going to start doing that. That's a great idea, because I literally, I'll look at them. Paul and I, our MO is we photograph them and they're dead to us. And so we'll typically just let them, I'll let it sit in my office for a while, because now I hate it. And I'm just going to let it die, and quietly, and then I'll just go sit it outside and watch it rot slower. And then eventually, animals start eating it, or it falls over the back wall, and javelinas eat it. But my thought now is I finish it, take some good photos, and bring it to this, anywhere. I mean, well, shit, I'm gonna go to places that I really want to get swag from. So I'm not gonna to grocery stores.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I did Thanos back before Avengers got to be super popular, and that was one of the first real. I was like, man, what am I gonna do with this thing? Like I got commissioned by like basically a comic book group, and Marvel had to approve it and all this shit. So it was all, you guys know, it's like so much production goes into this. It's like Dean Arnold with the Spud Bowl. Everything's done right here, and it dies. So I was like, God, I was going to go have a few shots of tequila, margaritas, whatever one night. And I was like, I'll just throw the pumpkin in the truck. Why not? And it was, it turned into like you're watching your own stupid idea come into fruition of like, this is great. Like the whole bar and the whole restaurant goes crazy. And then there's $100 gift card for all the margaritas or whatever you want kind of thing. And I'm like, right, this is either this or deer food. So no, it's great. I mean, plus what are we going to do with them anyway, right? Like you said.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Got a free margarita? Jesus, I gotta step up my game.
That's right.
I get nothing.
That's why they pay me the big drinks, bro.
I want the fishbowl margarita. Like
it's perks of the job, right? You're like, man, hell. As long as they don't give me pumpkin margaritas, because I'll be honest, I don't know if you guys feel the same, but come November 1st, anything that smells, tastes, or even looks like a pumpkin, that is edible. I'm like, yeah, I've had that before. I've smelled that before. I'm done with that. Yes, I don't, and no, I don't love the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, I do. It's a great band. And no, I don't have pumpkin cologne. That's it. It's all a lie. It's all a lie.
No, that's just my skin is stained with
Yeah,
the smell.
exactly.
Yeah.
No, I've just been swimming in this shit for a month now. That's why I have orange, and that's why I smell this way.
You know, it's funny how you're saying like you would. So that reminds me of how Maniac Pumpkins used to do it, right? They do guerrilla marketing. They do an etching and put it at the museum.
Yeah,
Or put it in a bar, strategic, just so people would talk about it. What a great idea! Like Monique does that kind of stuff too, where she basically will start a project, call the company, and say, "This is what I'm working on for you."
Yeah.
Are you in? Are you in? Or is
But
there
these are the things people need to hear, especially the small niche that we have here in the community, you know, in the culture. Is how do you market it?
All right.
And
you know, right.
An example you brought up, drop it off. You do one, you don't want it, drop it off somewhere where they might want another one and want to give you money for it.
Right.
Right.
And, you know, just the same. I mean, yeah, margaritas have never hurt anything, right?
David, I'm gonna take that advice, by the way, and I'm also getting a cooler tattoo like your arm. I'm gonna do something like that. I am now jealous.
But you know, I mean, I love it. To the point too about guys getting started and things like, you know, we probably all got great kind of coordination with a lot of farms, and we get our pumpkins and things like that. I mean, I found the same. Like, you know, you stand into a pumpkin event, or I mean, stand into a pumpkin farm and do a couple free sculptures in exchange for pumpkins. That seems like more of a no-brainer. But just the same, I've got a couple local farms in the neighborhood. I've done the same thing. Dropped off a couple of practice pumpkins, just brought them in. Just no questions asked. Just, hey guys, here. And then I'll show back up with no pumpkin, and they're like, hey man, can we give you either a huge discount and or free pumpkins, and then just bring them back once in a while. And you know, that helps the guys that are just getting going, so they're not spending a fortune on canvases, things like that. I mean, and again, it's like, you know, after the photos, to your point exactly, Matt, it's like, what are you going to do? You know, after photos, that's a wrap. If you're not putting them in a pickle jar, then, you know, let somebody else enjoy them.
I agree. I have the same relationship with Crockmall Farms in Tewksbury, Mass, where I'll do a live event carving, and just let me have some pumpkins. Like,
that's it. That's exactly
cool
right.
spot. The local business. We have a great relationship. I want them to start growing the pumpkins from the seeds I took from all my good, crazy looking pumpkins that I found. You know, I want to get my own little pumpkin patch going.
Right. No, right. Yeah.
So be on the lookout for Never Customs pumpkins if you want to get outrageous shipping prices. Otherwise, they're all mine.
I love it. You know, that was like, to Tater's credit, that was our very first, in fact, you know, name drop, Pigeon Roost Farm, the very first farm that ever, quote unquote, gave us a chance. We're like, man, we'll carve for free if you guys give us some pumpkins. And Tater, that was the first place he landed on, and we've been going back for going on 10 years now. They love having us. We get to promote Food Network shit. People come to see, you know, it's that whole random domino effect of, you know, freebie, and then, you know, the shit, I've still got 7 pumpkins, all good wolf, you know, jacks from just those kind of events. It's like, man, hell, what's it hurt? Everybody's involved. And then the best is that when you see the online feedback. Like, I go to Pigeon Roost every year just to see these guys come carve, and we spend a day there or whatever. You know, you get a truckload of pumpkins, you get the camaraderie, the kids in the neighborhood are good. And like you said, we might be making an investment in our next generation of assistants and or bosses, you know?
Sure. Yeah, and it's relationships. I mean, if you want a good business relationship with people, so Matt and I always say this: we'd be doing this anyway.
Right.
We're going to be sculpting pumpkins no matter what. This is just the coolest situation to do it in.
Of course.
So especially with local gigs, like obviously, you know how it is. A lot of times you're on the road, you're flying around. That's different. That's monetary, and they're hiring you for your skills. When you're local, it's such a privilege to be able to go somewhere where you can just drive through and stop at the coffee shop on the way there, and it's a nice day, and you're pumpkin, and you know these people. It's like extended family, you know, seasonal family, right? Of course. They have something you need, you have something they need. It's bartering, but you're having a good time doing it. You don't even have to deal with money, which always complicates things.
Of course, man. We say the same thing. We call them seasonal or annual friendships. There's nothing better.
Seasonal
I
family.
got a question. I got an ice question for you.
Yeah.
Pivoting
How
back.
cool are you? Giggity.
So, I mean, we don't have ice in Arizona, so this is all new to me. But when it comes to like obviously getting started and doing some of this in culinary school, you got a lot of interest. You got your skills kind of set. But like, where do like, and I'm sure there's a million, like maybe some top names like Ray Villafane of ice sculpting. I'm sure there's really amazing. I look at sand sculptures and I'm still my mind are blown up every time. But do you is there a place people can go to get basics on this, or do you start with a small? I got a whole tray of ice cubes. I can. But honestly, how does one get started in ice? Is my point. Yeah.
Man, honestly, it's kind of cliche, but like some of the best in the biz are in Texas. I can't think of anyone in Arizona now. I know there's somebody there, but no, literally, get on the Google, look up, your local ice carver, whatever, and just ask if they do classes and or they, apprenticeships, things like that. But that's almost the only real avenue into it. And at the same token, like if there's a culinary school nearby that does a program or at least has a 1 or 2 day ice carving for French, it was like French cuisine, banquet study, things like that was like part of it. Yeah. But you can ask if you can stand in on that day and kind of get the instructional. But actually, I used to host a lot of those at least 3 culinary schools in the same thing. And I've got like a basic like 20 page book on just like this is kind of how you do it, the very basics. But to actually get hands on, man, give your local community ice carver a shot. And honestly, not only do they most of them anyway, love to pass the torch kind of in that regard because there's nobody doing it. But they also often, if not already, are looking for apprenticeships or people that actually are involved because you might be able to help them out one day or help with the business. There's so few people. I actually had just a good analogy in that regard. A good guy, Casey Connor, years back, they did all the ice for when the Super Bowl was in Minnesota. And he called and he's like, Dave, can you come out? Yada, yada, whatever. And I'm like, sure. What do you need me to carve? He's like, I don't need you to carve anything. I just need somebody that knows how to move ice off a damn truck without breaking it. There's so few people that actually do it that's literally, it's so limited. So man, get involved, call your locals and, it's good for biz. It's good for that. But man, people love teaching this stuff too. Plus it's hands-on, it's right there in your face. Chainsaws, it's easy to follow. I mean, like I always joke, I'm like, man, some of the guys in the business are great artists. Some other guys are great engineers. There's building, there's art, there's all the aspects of just what, you don't have to be, you guys have heard it all before. I can't even draw a stick figure. Well, I'm not asking you to draw a stick figure. I'm asking you to run a chainsaw. It's way cool,
Yeah.
No, I listen, I'm one of the guys that's like, I don't want to run a chainsaw. And it's literally because I've had dreams of me cutting my artery in my leg. I think I saw somebody cut themselves when I was a kid with a chainsaw. I don't know if it was a dream or not, but it scarred me for life. Dream or not.
That's bad news. Yeah, that's bad news bears.
Yeah, cut that shit out. Like, and the same thing when we were in Arizona, I have had dreams about getting bitten by rattlesnakes. And now they explain to me why cowboy boots are that high.
Yeah.
And they all had cowboy boots on, and I had Adidas shorts and a tank top on trying to run a power cord in the desert at night. And I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's kind of getting chilly. And he's like, but that's when the rattlesnakes come out because they hunt the heat. And I'm like, then why would you send me behind a building without rattlesnake boots and a gun?
Right.
Yeah. Right. But you got home with a couple of rattlesnake tails. I think now they fear you.
Well, that's even scarier because I wasn't there to see it, but it was 20 feet away and they hit it with a truck.
Yes.
And they treat it like, damn squirrels.
Yeah. Right. I love it.
Well, guys, we hit that dreaded hour.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
The fastest 90 minutes on the internet hits again.
I'm calling my congressman.
Dave, did you glue that nose on?
Yeah.
All right, thank Christ. I'm like, wow, that's the thickest pumpkin I ever saw.
No, it was great. In fact, you guys see, this is a good one.
Oh, look at that. Oh, nice.
I got a two. Well, that's got a finger trick. I got excited. I got very excited. Yeah. No, that was. This is good, man. I get back to the point. Drop off some pumpkins. They give you great wolves for free.
Nice.
Awesome.
Look at the stem.
Is that a wolf? I mean, look at that stem.
Yeah, no, it's definitely absolutely. In fact, you got no real. I mean, it's damn near 20 inches tall. Happy.
Oh, I mean,
Nice.
damn
Nice.
it.
Maddie, what do you got?
All right. Well,
Yeah, wow, look at you go.
Just like before, I kind of get lost in. Let's see if I can get some.
Oh, it looks awesome though. I can actually see where it's going.
So he's gotta have like a really slurry, like, oh god, it's like, it's not- and then eventually it'll be more of a clown. But right now I'm just trying to get the drunk part.
Yeah, but the
Yeah, I was
shadows
thinking the
under
same.
the eyes and stuff, around the eyes, the like the orbital cavity kind of stuff you got going on right now.
Yeah, some bags.
Really cool, man. Yeah, and you even got forehead wrinkles. Jeez, Louise.
Right.
Well, you know,
You jerk.
you guys were talking.
Way to jump ahead of everybody.
I mean, I was thinking, I was like, I need drool. Matt, I need a side lesson, man. This has got to be a drooling.
Oh, yeah,
tongue out.
Oh yeah. I'll send you some good drool techniques. But it involves a lot of drinking.
You guys can trade.
Right?
You can trade an apprenticeship in ice sculpting for drool pumpkin cards.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Done.
We'll make a petri dish out of ice, and then we can just collect it there, bro.
I love the science. Look, it's a science show too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just roughing.
You guys.
I did get a new tool though, because I am definitely gluing on the nose. I got Maddie, look, you'd be proud of me.
Oh, look at this.
I
Yeah.
did. So I'm gonna flatten. You and Gabriel were turning me on to these actual sculpting tools. I think they're called sculpting tools. Is that what they call them?
I don't know, something clay something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and apply myself in this next year and try to get good at things like this, which is I should have probably done for the last 10 years.
Humility's underrated. God bless you.
At least I'm trying.
I love it.
He'll look okay. It's there's a little bit this left there. I'm not doing anything crazy. It's getting a little thin right here because it is a beach ball. But
yeah, I already can see that express. He's a happy drunk. That's all I can say.
You know what he's doing? He's taking a piss.
Yeah.
Oh,
how many of us have made that face after a couple?
Satisfaction.
When the line's 3 long in a bathroom and you finally go around the corner and you're like, it's all mine.
I think I made that face yesterday a couple of times.
I think you made that face during the show. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, this is where you can
so
see.
much.
Yeah, this is where you can see David's Instagram, right? This is where you put a lot of your work.
Yeah, mostly on Instagram. The website's still under construction because I'm kind of tech tardy, but yeah, man, definitely Instagram. Check us out. We appreciate it, gang.
Nice. Thank you for being here. This is where we're on all the socials at Carvers Creators on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, and TikTok. Guys, any last words before we sign off for this week?
Yeah,
David, I can't wait to see the finished drunk clown. I'm excited to see. I'm already liking where you're going, David. I can't wait to see another Master Carver's attempt because we've had so many great guests on, but when we get a really good pumpkin sculptor too, it's like, oh, I can't wait to see what he does.
It makes me feel good. I will not be the only drunken clown, hopefully, when all this is said and done.
Don't
guys,
steal
thank you
mine.
so much. We appreciate you so much. Thanks, it's a pleasure. And like I said, you guys ever want to tote a chainsaw or freeze your butt off in Alaska, you know who to call.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it might. You know what? Carvers and Creators in Alaska sounds like a fun time too. I mean, let's not rule anything out, Mick.
A weekend. I'm not saying up to 2 months like you guys, you crazy people. I'll go a weekend and I'm gonna have every pair. Put it this way: I live in Arizona. I have absolutely nothing that would keep me warm in let alone 20 degrees, let alone negative. So I'm gonna just start putting on everything I have right now and start getting ready for it.
Matt would actually have to go to Elon Musk because they don't make human-sized clothes for that temperature. He'd have to go to SpaceX. You know what? Max.
Being a drunken clown helps with the temperature change.
Okay, well that helps. Yeah, I'll just be hammered the whole time and not know it.
Yeah, there's actually a midnight baseball league in Alaska where literally it's midnight and it's still daylight out, and then they have a baseball tournament that plays all through that.
My,
So
my birthday is July 30th, and I've spent summer in Alaska. In that regard, there's a joke in Alaska. It's like, hey, I'm going fishing. Well, when will you be back? Well, when the sun goes down. You know? The midnight sun. It's great, guys.
yeah, it's quite outrageous. So again, David, thank you so much for joining us. We'd love to have you back.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love to. Anytime, for sure.
Awesome.
You guys stay tuned. We'll update after Alaska. And hopefully I'm still wiggling all 10 fingers and toes, you know?
Well,
Yeah, no frostbite.
yes, please stay safe. Please. I mean, that's
Yes.
horrifying to think that could happen. So like, please be
Ask
safe.
for the Lord, right? Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. It was a pleasure. You guys rock and roll. Keep the dream alive for the rest of us. We really appreciate what you're doing, guys. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you
Thanks,
so
buddy.
much. And we will see you next Thursday with another Carvers and Creators. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.